back, everyone, to the Lunch Talks podcast with Matt and Brendon, and we are here at the Mockingbird Cafe in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, for a little coffee. And today we're going to talk about something that I experienced last year, and I talked about it on the podcast, I think. But Brendan's going to go on it now, and what it is, it's a mission trip to Klagetoh, Arizona, where there is a Catholic mission called St. Anne's Mission, and I went there, and it's in Klagetoh, Arizona, and it's on the Navajo reservation, which is very cool, and you really get to experience the life of, what the Navajo go through, their daily life, stuff like that. And so today, what we're pretty much going to do is a Pre-Klagetoh podcast, because tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you said in the morning, y'all are going to be leaving. And so I guess we should just start with your expectations. What do you want to get out of this? Maybe, what is your thought on this?
Oh man, I'm so excited to go on the Klagetoh trip. I've been wanting to go since like 7th grade, and for a long time, I've been really interested in Native American culture. There's just that draw to it. I don't know what it is about it, but I've always been drawn to it. I guess the naturalistic side of it, their kind of wisdom that they have within their different religions. I don't know. I've always been attracted to that kind of culture and ideas and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to experiencing the Navajo people, to experiencing a completely different way of life. Like, so different than the way we live. Mm-hmm. And talking to Brother John today was incredible.
Yeah, Brother John, I was lucky to have him, come for ours, because he worked there for, I think he said 25 years. And he's originally from New Orleans, and he I think was here in Stanislaus at one time. Now he's at E.D. White in Thibodeau. And what was really cool is that it wasn't just us at Thanksgiving. It was a very small group for us. It was Sarah, Michael, me, JT, Bo, Mr. Gamble, and Miss Boudreaux. All of us in one car, packed. And when she was saying shoves, like we were shoved into a car.
Yeah.
And we had stuff strapped on top. You couldn't see out of the windows hardly.
Jeez.
I mean, it was brand new when we rented it, and it was like so trashed after we got done with it. But we met with another group of actual blood brothers, the Bernards, and they were all from Thibodeau, and they had been taught by Brother John there in Thibodeau before he was at Klagetoh, and so they wanted to come and experience this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what was really funny, and what helped me to not really be super homesick, is all of them had that super, Kunas, voice and everything. And the brothers were the Bernard brothers, and they were Mike Bernard, Adrian Bernard, Matt Bernard, Bob Bernard, Steve Bernard. That was the 5 Bernards. And then they had a family friend who was like a brother, and he was named Bob Beto. And so it was like this when they talked to each other, they didn't communicate in words. They were just it's just all this Sylvester Stallone
hey, Bob.
Yeah, hey Bob, and he's like and what was funny is they would start joking. They're like, hey, you want to go get that hammer? I'm gonna need a hammer, and then they started and then they just start laughing, and it's like I don't know what they're saying, but it's probably funny. But that brought me home a little bit because I'm used to that. But it was really nice because they actually cooked us gumbo.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday night. And that was really nice.
Mr. Terry's actually sending some over with us.
Really?
And he's going to give it to Brother Charles. I've never met Brother Charles, but I've heard a lot about him. But he said, maybe Brother Charles should experience this gumbo, and he's sending over a gallon of it frozen.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. Brother Charles is pretty cool. I don't think you're going to take it when he starts laughing, because his laugh is one of those faceless laughs. Yes, I'm serious, and there's no smile, and all it is just this one exhalation of breath. It's very funny. Yeah, that's exactly it. But there's no smile, and he was cracking up laughing one time like this. cracking up laughing. And
Yeah.
we're all like, are you laughing? Are you crying? What are you doing? But he did smile a couple times. So he's fun. Brother Robert was there. He's like 80-something years old. As a trolley comes by. And unfortunately, like they were saying this morning, he's not going to be there. So you won't be able to meet him, but you'll be able to meet Sister Monica, and stuff like that, and be able to see. I think more of it, and it's not just that Native American lifestyle that you'll be able to experience, but what you'll be able to experience is that devotion to service. That it's like, yeah, we do service here, but like the only reason for existence that these brothers and sisters have there are to survive, in other words, eat and sleep and, do what you need to do bodily. And otherwise, it's to serve. That's the only thing that they do, They'll go get in the car because they know somebody and they just want to go hang out with somebody, That's all they do.
Yeah.
So, experiencing that is really cool.
Just talking to Brother John today, I've listened to philosophers and all kinds of people on the internet, and I've read a lot of books that had his way of speaking and his language in it. But I've talked to very, very, very few people who spoke like him in person.
How do you mean?
When he talked about the Navajo's idea of like God is in everything, He's in creation, He's in my hand, this cup of tea, He's in the wind and everything, and he talked about how like one thing that was so important was he said they don't see anyone as subhuman.
Right.
I love that because it shows like what I think of is a true religion.
Right.
That's my idea of what true religion is.
Yeah.
Just like love.
And I completely agree. The Beatitudes are like the foundation of Christian life. And what's cool there is that they caught on to Christianity very well, even aside from their Native American religions and stuff like that. Mainly because they identify with each other very well. They have a huge sense of empathy. They get the fact that, some people are just in a bad place in life, most people there are in poverty, so they get that, and we've always talked about those who have less usually are better off, emotionally and mentally and stuff like that, in these cultures. Now, in our culture, it doesn't work like that because we don't allow them to do that, poor people, I'm saying. And really, for that matter, no one is allowed to be happy or anything if the only thing it means anything is money. But that's definitely something that they caught on to, is that fact of love. It's almost kind of like, it's like something that they were doing already, that whole idea of love and compassion and unity. And then when they heard that Christianity is kind of like that, they were like, oh, okay, let's do that, know. So they're very they're God-fearing folk. But it's very cool going out there and not just experiencing something different, but losing this experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And actually detaching yourself from this. And it'll just happen. I didn't go to Klagetoh completely to separate. I wanted to, and I tried to, but I didn't do it as like, okay, I'm going to separate from like this reality, kind of like you were saying you were going to do. But I think if you really do apply yourself and try to do that, it will happen.
Yeah.
It's so easy to forget everything. I mean, Navajo time is real, and it's something you won't really recognize instantly, It's more of something that you're going to get into, and it's just that I'll see you in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And there's no, it's not like you just group all of these times into the afternoon. It's just that this one time is the afternoon. You eat lunch at 12. And for us, you also eat dinner at 6 and breakfast at 7 or whatever it is. But 12 is that midpoint, and everything after that's the afternoon, and everything before that's the morning, and then that's just it, And if someone's late, you're late. And they had even said that they'll have masses and stuff where if they know a family's coming, that always comes every single day or something like that, and they're not there, they're just going to wait.
Huh.
So if mass starts at 9 and they don't start till 10:30 because the people were late getting there, that's just it. Yeah. And you just wait, and you don't complain. You don't say, "Oh well, it's time for them to get here." And you just, "Oh, they're not here. Okay, we'll just talk."
Is it just because they're so content with just being?
I think it's more of the fact that I think it's that they don't recognize time as a material god. how kind of we do.
Yeah.
They recognize time as just the passing of human interaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what they value, is that human interaction. And so that passing of time is it's almost kind of like a compliment, you know what I mean? Or even a supplement to life. It's nothing that's about it, time passing. It's not wasted. They don't waste time. There's no such thing as time that is wasted, because each moment of living is inherently good if you're doing it with people, in unity and loving people. You know what I mean? There's no, well, we're just wasting time doing this. They've never wasted time. There's no such thing as wasting time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it comes from. That, it's not that they're wasting time and waiting for someone. It's just that, in fact, it's probably better because they get to have more time with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to talk with someone and learn about someone for the hour, that they were there waiting for those people if that person wasn't late.
Yeah.
So that's what Klagetoh time is. Navajo time.
I love that. And I love what you said in first period when you were talking about just try to just listen. Because I had this one experience, or actually two. One time I was in the chapel, and then another time, I've done it a few times where I woke up at like 4 in the morning and just went for a walk. Mm-hmm. At that time of day, the whole world's asleep. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking people. I'm talking like the world, like the grass and the trees and stuff. That sounds ridiculous and hidden, but I'm serious. It is. But when you do that, it's almost like you're forced into like this reverence where you have to just listen. You have to just listen to the silence. Mm-hmm. Same with the chapel. You just have to sit there and like you feel something telling you, just stop and just calm. Stop thinking, stop imposing your ideas on the world and what you think about it. Mm-hmm. And stop trying to put everything into a box of your ideas of it. Just listen.
Yeah, that's absolutely Navajo, time and atmosphere and culture and things like that. It's all based on that. Because it is always like that, that's how life is. It's slow-paced, it's relaxed, because you are always in that state of, not being busy or not being, overworked.
Yeah.
And if y'all go to, what's the name of it? Because Canyon de Chelly, y'all will go to, and that's really cool. But there's another one that we went to. God, I can't remember what it's called now. But it's this national park that is. There's this national park on the way to Klagetoh. It's in New Mexico before you get over the Arizona border, and I can't describe to you the silence. Mm. I didn't want this morning to suggest the silence, but I'll tell you, I can't describe the silence, because what it is, it's Indian ruins, and we went up there and you could see the petroglyphs and stuff, and you're on this big rock face. I mean, it's a 600-foot cliff, and you're up against it on all the ruins and stuff, and then there's one little peak, in the movie, the Western movies where it's all desert, and then they have a big mesa or plateau that comes up. They have one of those, and then there's one long, and it's like you can see that, but then where you were, there's that way and that way. There's nothing. The horizon is the desert, and like Brother John said, you can see for so. I mean, I would guess that I could probably see about 20 miles there. And like the visual limit of the horizon is 10 miles. Like it's just, everything is just so elongated there, And the silence was deafening. It really that's
the most poetic thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that poetic like cliche of the deafening silence is so true. And I can't describe to you the silence. Like, and honestly, when I say it was deafening, it really did create a sense of deafening to me, because I was so used to having something. I mean, like even right now we have the ambient noises, and stuff like that. Yeah. But it felt honestly like when you have earbuds in, but you have no music going on. It's like muffled.
And you can hear like the blood in your brain and stuff like that.
Yeah. It feels as if there's sound going on, but it's muffled. But there's nothing in your ears, and it was amazing. Just to sit there, and you can't even hear the wind blowing. Huh. Like the wind's blowing on you, and you still can't.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then when the wind would die, it would just nothing.
Well, yeah, because there's no surfaces for the sound to bounce off of.
Exactly. Well, and there is no sound.
Oh.
That's the thing. But and that's the level of it, and if you guys get to go there, that's so cool, and it happens on the reservation too. I'm just saying there it was particularly special for me.
Miss Boudreaux was talking about how like we're gonna take someplace, we need to get gas, fill up on gas before, and there's gonna be an hour-long off-road drive to some really cool place. Is that what you're talking about?
That's it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Excited.
We ended up taking 3 different roads. One was a paved road. We turned off of that, and then we turned on to a dirt road. That was a total of about 100 miles. Saw 1 car.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, 1 car.
Yeah.
And so going out there, you're driving around. It's so cool. Yeah, that's where you're going. That's it. And it's a national park and everything, and you'll see it. But I had been to Seattle at that time, and you've been to Colorado at that time. But have you ever been in a desert?
Yes.
You have? Where?
In Colorado.
Okay. Well, in the Colorado desert, it's close. But
I don't know if you could define it as a desert, but it was just flat, sandy everywhere you looked.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it is. But for me, that desert experience was so different from the Seattle experience, and it was something pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess really, other than that, I guess what I want to talk most on is when you get back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see where you are mentally, emotionally, stuff like that after that. But do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know. There's this guy, his name is Steve Maxwell, and he's another internet person, but he spends his whole life, he's like a fitness guru, and all he does is he has 1 bag. It's like a 46-liter bag or something like that, and he has all of his belongings in this 1 bag. Mm-hmm. Basically, he gets paid to travel around and go teach people fitness and stuff, and he'll like live in a place for 2 weeks or whatever. And at the very end of this one podcast I was listening to with him on it, the guy asks, what is like one parting piece of advice, like the best piece of advice you can think of? And he says, chew your food. And I took that not only as just like actually eating food, but actually being able to take in any experience you have, being able to like kind of, chew it around in yourself and like have it just pass through you.
Don't shoot it down.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And I think like that silence and that openness allows you to just like, instead of just cramming in experience after experience or Instagram post after Instagram post or class after class, periods of 1 through 8 in our school is just crazy. Like you're getting so much information crammed in there. I want to just be able to like push everything through.
Mm-hmm. I think you'll find that. I think you'll find there's only one thing that you're doing, and you're surviving. You're existing. Now, I say surviving, and I don't mean like let's go catch food.
Yeah.
Like you have food, you have water, you have heating. Don't worry about any of those things. You'll be comfortable. Now, some of the Navajo may not, but you'll be comfortable.
To me, that bothers me. I'll be comfortable, but some of the Navajo people won't.
And they won't be immediately noticeable. Most of the Navajo have houses, and they're fine, but they may not have electricity, or they may not have plumbing, or they may not have this, or they may not have that. But there are Navajo out maybe 100 miles away that you don't know of, and maybe no one knows of, that are just walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's things like that. And the thing that I think I found most there is that it's not the type of poverty that you see a lot here where someone has nothing, you know what I mean? Where they have no TV, they have no house, they have no nothing. It's like I said, they'll not have one thing. I mean, even most of them have cell phones, but they may not have a nice house. It may be falling apart. One might have a decent house where they have all kinds of things, but they don't have any kind of cell phone or any kind of internet.
Yeah.
So it's different things that they may or may not have. But you will be living with all your amenities, and it's just the fact that some of them, aren't. And it does kind of bother you, but in our materialistic mind, it's almost comforting just to be like, okay, at least I'm okay. But at the same time, that should motivate you when you go out the next morning to go serve, to go and do as much as you can for someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think what you'll find is just doing that one thing.
Yeah.
I had no other things to do. I always was I was there. I was existing. You know what I mean? And we've talked before about not wanting that in our lives because you want to have, thought process and philosophy and psychology and things like that that you focus on. But there you don't need any of that. You're able to do that effortlessly. That's what it is. You're able to live and just be, I'm here and I'm alive and I'm ready to go do what I need to do. When I was writing one morning in a little journal, you'll get the journal, so I shouldn't have told you about that. But I was writing one morning and I was just free writing, and it just came out off the pen, and it was a quote that I pretty much came up with, and it said, I don't know what I'm going to be doing today. I don't know what's at stake, but I do know that God will always be with me, always. Something very, terse like that. And it was just something that I was sitting there looking at the sunrise, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And it just flowed right off the pen onto the paper. Another cool thing, too, is you get oriented east and west, not north and south. North and south feel left and right, at least when I was there, because when you walk out of the dormitory thing, you're facing east. Everything always faces east. All the hogans there all face east. So you're oriented east-west. And that's north and that's south, which is weird because here, that's north. And you're just, okay, north is this way, then you can get everything from there. No, everything there goes east to west. Mentally, that's how they are.
Yeah.
So it's mind-boggling because I had seen it on the map when we were going, but when we got there, I was totally thrown off. We went north, but we went left. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, we're going farther towards California, but we're going north. I was totally thrown off.
Yeah.
And it's because you lose all connection to all of the maps and stuff like that. You don't need any of that. All you need is you. But what I was going to do is, I have this. Let me get out of my pocket. My cross that I got today, from the whole service and everything, and you have yours. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this to you, and I want you to go and listen closely.
Okay.
I want you to go, and there's a cemetery kind of behind the mission. Once you go out past that, out into the sage kind of field and everything, and I just want you to, one morning, just go out there and, and be there and reflect, and then I want you to bury this in the sand for me.
Absolutely. I will do that.
Awesome.
You have my word.
That. And
I'll absolutely do that.
And whatever, you're going to do with yours, you can do with it. Mine has my name on it. But if you would do that for me, it's just so that way a piece of me is still there, I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
So.
And I guess to elaborate for the people listening, they gave us all, they call us the missionaries who are going because we're on a mission to help people. They gave us these crosses, and they said, if you're going to bond with the people there, you're going to bond with the Navajo people. And one of the teachers said, if the Spirit moves you to do this, give your cross to someone and just say, here, I want you to remember me by this, and to represent that bond that you made with that person. And so that's what the crosses are all about for anyone listening.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I didn't find someone specific that I was super, focused on. But for me, I guess that person is the land. You know? And there's all kinds of pottery out there. There are even bones. People in the past have found human skeletons and stuff. And don't take any home. You can pick it up and look at it, but don't take it back to the dorm room. I have heard many of stories of haunting and things like that. But if you would do that, that'll be awesome for me, just to know that a piece of me is still there, and still for me to go back, because I will be there, and I just I want that piece of me to always be there, because it always is with me. The piece of Klagetoh is always with me, and to have a piece of me there, it'll be something very special for me, and I hope it'll be special for you to be able to give your cross to someone that you find a connection with. So other than that, I think that will conclude our Pre-Klagetoh podcast, and whenever you get back on Saturday or Sunday or whatever, hopefully as soon as you get back, when you're fresh on your Klagetoh high, we can do the post Klagetoh and discuss what you experienced what was your favorite part about it, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that will conclude it. Thanks.
Okay, that's it.